Actually, before, hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, we're close to getting all the sizes. Um, and to get a little nervous. How close? Um, this is um. Okay, so one thing I finished is saving, I think. Uh, to go into specifics, uh, I think I could do. So um, I added a default type option because I did a decent amount, but there's also a lot more to do. Um, a lot of very useful things need to be done. So can I use phone controls here? I can't. Okay. So at the top added a default type file. So my main thing that I was focused on doing is saving. So being able to make edits on a file and then save it. Um, so there's a lot of different types though. Whether I'm editing a document, and I could, well, there's document, file, there's notes, which I don't have yet. There is user documents, user files, user options that are editable. There's user commands.txt. Options and commands.txt, I'm saving it as one type, which is user. the user type basically is the directory of a user. So when you go to edit, your options will be labeled that type just so it knows where to save. I haven't tested saving, but 120. That's a lot. It is an insane amount. More close to that. Well, I'll probably get there by the time I get a big berry. Oh, I mean. Okay. So, default type. So there's like, so let's say you were to, yes, either create a new file. The default type of that file would be file. So it would be saved under your files. Or let's say you wanted, you know, like you're gonna be not really doing anything under the files directory, but mainly just editing a whole bunch of documents, creating new documents. You just switch that to document for the default type, and then it'll be saved on that, I think. Ooh, corn rice. At 6 now. I think there might have been another reason for it, maybe. But it's kind of okay, talked about the general idea of it, you know. Just a place to store a file type and doing logic around that. Next one is functions.js. If array length. Okay, so this is because I will eventually, and I did test a little bit, saving a file without a new line at the end. Because sometimes I want to do that because it's useful when there's some uses related to I can't really explain, but it would be good if that option was available. Whether it's used a lot or not, it's probably very rare. But if a file did not have a new line at the end of it, this split and pop last would, instead of popping out an empty line, it would just pop out the last line. So I would have to check to make sure the last line is an empty, useless line before popping it. Because I would end up really confused when opening up a file that's supposed to have 4 lines and 3 lines show up. And then there's any. So with Now, when saving, I talked about those file types, which helps the server know where to save the file. And of course that file type can be switched by the user. So like, let's say I'm editing a document, but I want to save it to files for some reason. And you can specify that type and the server will be like, okay, and then save it to files. But if you don't want to specify a type and you start editing document, you're kind of expecting it to be saved again as a document. So the easiest way with a lot of also the other code, the easiest, simplest way is I just sent a variable. One, I also the file name can be changed as well, and stuff like that. That's probably pretty important. But just as when for example, if you're let me open up. So if we were to go to here, hello, this is a website. This is actually a file called server files, dev, documents, home. That's that file. And so it's a document. If you're editing that document, then when you go to edit it, I've actually never tested this out. Kind of want to just, when you save it, you should save it as a document type, and it should handle that, or be able to change it. So once you edit home, you get sent the actual type of the file as well, and the file name. Ooh, no nice. Right, so that was quick. So now when I go to my site, it's changed because the file is changed. It's saved. It works. Wow. So the file name and the file type have to be sent, and this is an any, so that means when it's doing a search for any of the, so one way to both edit and view file, to edit a file, it would be /edit, but I commented out the ability to do that because when saving, it sends a post request to edit/post instead of ace.000/post. But you can view it, and when viewing, I guess when viewing, I don't need. I don't really need to. But I did it for some reason. I know in Vue, I did add. I'm probably not gonna get rid of it for a while because I most likely did add it for a reason. Um, but if the reason was mistaken, then I will move it later. But that's the way it is. Um, um, so after that, we do the same thing here. And I think there's, and then we clean this out. So that way, this and this is basically the same code. Um, actually, like, I'm gonna use arrow keys instead. The green light is pretty bright though. Oops. Um, so then after that, same thing for consultation. And then I added again. I pretty much added it to everything. The file name and type. And in edit.js, I wonder why this changes sometimes, even though. Wait, it did change. Oh, because this was like a really old code before I knew all of how edit.js was gonna work. So even at first, I did a check for IP, but then realizing I don't want to do this for loop twice, I had to check for IP on the inside of the for loop. Actually, the for loop wouldn't run twice. I guess we might be doing unnecessary checks. Dang it, I should unclick that. Doesn't really matter. Some of the code is set up that way anyway. gonna cause a problem. If not that, then we're doing we look through documents. If it's not a document, we look through files. Not a file. We check of uh, uh the URL's options or commands. If none of all that, then you just send the not found. That's edit.js, which is commented out because it doesn't really work that well. So now we're on post.js. I ended up getting rid of this not sent because I don't think I needed it. And changing doc found to found, which makes a little bit more sense because we're not just working just with documents, we could be working with documents, files, notes, options, and commands.txt. A whole bunch of stuff, and that's just what I plan as of right now. So how do we do this? Data equals. Dang it. For the so that's actually a lot. Why did it do that? What is it? Oh, weird. Maybe what was the default? Is it 1 minute? It was 1 minute. I almost clicked wipe save. Yes. Goku. 15, 16. There we go. Um, 1 second. I don't really know why this tooltip changes. Air payback never changed. Never changed back. Yeah, I have no idea how to do that. But I wanted to stay on telling you how many clicks it has to do to get the 5 trillion. So data. Oh wait, prepare. Okay, so I'm not really sure. I kind of got a little bit confused on what this is for. I think I had an idea, but I just struggled to figure. I think I was trying to like come up with this, but a lot earlier on, in a kind of quick way, even though I didn't have saving working then, so it didn't really make sense. Maybe, I I don't understand the comment. Um, I think I wanted to find a different solution to this because I guess I knew at the time this wasn't that good, maybe, but the suggestion is the part that confuses me, where file name equals null, which makes me think I intended there to be like a just kind of what happened if a new file was created, maybe. But that doesn't make sense of where it was placed. But so for a lot of the stuff I added a switch statement of the stuff that I needed. Notes isn't here because I haven't started doing that yet. Um, Um, and when you send off a post request, I think something has to come back. Maybe I could have just sent status. But basically, if I just did like a res.end, screen would go black. So I'd have to like a resend. Oh, that might be because of the code on the website, but so I would. It doesn't really matter. I could just quickly resend. Um, wow, where they left off. Um, and for one of them in the future, let me skip ahead to edit somewhere around here. Over here. When this is the actual saving portion, I would actually write the file. But for some reason, when I did the reloading, the old file, the nonce previous to the save, was it flicked to that. Even if I would await the right file and then read it again, it would for some reason go back to the old one. I don't know why. Maybe it has something to do with the request getting doubled or something, which is a problem. But um. Uh, so instead of trying to read the file again, because who knows when the file will normal, I guess. Um, I just sent back what it sent me. That was pretty good. So we could go back up. So the first one. Right here, just adding variables again. I got 280 quadrillion. %,000%. 165. So is that the highest? I'll keep track. So every building is rebuilding after 100, or rebuilding is like what? Um, 1 second, real quick. It's annoying. Oh, I forgot where I left off. Oh, I was talking about buildings. Um, the building has 10% for 1 minute or 30 seconds. You just have to keep track of the number anytime I get that stuff. So, because I had a lot of grandmas, a max reward of Big Berry at 280 because CPS was high. I could probably eventually do some math, figuring out how many days of production it would be for that 280 plus frenzy. Was the frenzy on? I don't remember, but if not found, then we. Oh, so there's documents and files and options and commands. We've seen that. And then here it's that was for a view or something, I think. And I'll probably also be edit. I'm trying to do file names, documents, options and commands, and they're not found. Then there's get, which just sends the file that you ask for. Kind of like a download, but eventually I want to do some stuff with the file system API. Because putting everything in the downloads folder doesn't really make sense. For example, if I was like Ludum Dare that's coming up, right? With when I put the code on GitHub, I noticed it was actually just. It makes sense that it was like that, but like it is literally like let me actually go look at the code. You can literally just object there and here are the files. Here's the code. This stuff. This is good stuff. So you literally just have the code here. So the idea would be is just to give the website access to the folder that contains project, and then I think it can like upload this file, and also it can read and write to this file. and any other files that you give it access to. You give it access to a folder, or you can give it access to a specific file. Cool. Coinrise. So that's kind of why I want to use file system API, because that would probably be pretty useful. The one thing I think I can't get around is the UI for choosing that type of stuff. For example, if you're to like save an image, it opens up, I think, your operating system's default thing. One thing I wish is, so with my whole like mini console, to add it. How to do stuff. I wish I could just do, how to do it. Let's say the command was like local save or download, maybe I would by default go to home, right? I don't wanna, how do I, is this, the home slash download. If I knew I wanted to save it to downloads, I should be able to just write that and not have to interact with my thing. Or even if I wanted to interact with the GUI, the website should. But yeah. I guess I couldn't have a GUI on my website because then I'd have to read all the files in the home directory just to be able to display them as a list. But I would want that little console thing, but I don't think it's possible, or at least I haven't seen it, one, being done, or two, my searching of the internet has not yielded many results. People doing it, mainly only use of the file system API, which I think is pretty new. And yeah, I mean it does work. It's cool. The file system API doesn't work. Wouldn't be cool. But okay. So you went through the save a little bit, and default. Forgot to do a space here, and more types and file names, and then I commented out edit.js. And then here we have the command line, which I just added two more things to be sent to the server: the file name and the type, and just organized it. The previous variable was location. Type seems better because we're not actually like, location wouldn't make sense because there's not a location called document, there's a location called documents. But there's not a location called, there's a location called user kind of, just the actual name of the user, but type kind of makes a little bit more sense, I think. Um, got the Y. So this was, ooh, no. I keep thinking I'm in my, to remember I'm in a different year. There's a bit of a bug. Um, where uh, I have to remember I'm in a different layer. I'm gonna press some. I'm gonna accidentally reset my keyboard. I'm gonna delete the firmware on it. So I think the quote was like, this is a test, and there was new line was like this. Uh, and this was meant to be put into g.content. So I passed it to string to array, because g.content is an array of strings in a specific way. That makes sense with the whole logic of the thing. So, but it didn't do it, and that's because the code checked if it had a new line. It does. It split the new line successfully. So it's an array with two elements, this string and then the other thing. And then it popped the empty string because the new line's at the end. And then it went through other code. I checked if it was multi-line. It wasn't, it's a single line. And then if it wasn't multi-line, it would return that. So I returned, I think it was an array with a single element of this entire string, which isn't the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like this comment right here where it's the letter T, the letter E, each letter is an element. So another split was missing. So I just did a check if it's a single line, because normally if it's a multi-line, that splitting would happen with this other check. All you need is a check for a single line, and also there's another check for a single line. Basically, it's snuck through. I just need to add another case to make sure it worked. Otherwise, it should be good. I've got a decent amount of options covered. And then there is another glitch that had to do with scrolling, where if I think I was, let me just, I don't need to edit. So I was editing this file. And there's a lot less lines than, for example, so this, I was able to scroll up and down pretty fine, but when I was doing this, I noticed that when I started typing and adding lines, for example, if I were to hit enter, it should technically go to number 5, right? But I think it didn't, and it glitched out. So one thing that this R function does is basically um, so the JavaScript knows how many it takes the size of the character vertical height plus the lines, all the spacings, text editor spacings, all the horizontal and vertical spacings, and knows how many visible lines are on the screen. But if you were to resize vertically, then the amount of viewable lines changes. So you have to do that recalculation. There's a listener that checks if you know, a resize happened. And if it does, it, you know, does that counting again where, you know, does the math on all the spaces basically. Hold on, let me put a note. I think I might be able to quickly improve something, but not right now. After. So, when I add a new line here, it has to select the lines, a whole bunch of stuff. Didn't update, so I just used that function. That is so that resize listener calls the R function, which does the make sure everything's okay. And I just had to call that function anytime there's a change in the amount of lines on screen, or the amount of lines in a document or stuff like that, maybe. So that's what that R function is, and that's why it's added. Gotta remember. Up. So I did change the way here. Let me close to the end anyway. So we're gonna skip around a little bit. So previously it was this, and there are some issues going on where stuff gets doubled. One thing I kind of noticed while trying to fix a problem was that this piece of code right here, It was close, but it wasn't what I... It doesn't really make sense, single part of it. You don't really want to go all the way. Like if there's 1,000 lines in a document, you want to run this loop 1,000 times and then add the viewable lines, because not for the reason that it would be, I don't know, inefficient, but if the amount of lines is less than the viewable lines, then that's something you don't want. So my solution was obviously it's right here, but to do the for loop not based on the content but the amount of lines. And then it took me a second, but then I just remembered that this isn't really like from one number to another number. It's more like a variable and or like this doesn't matter. This is like is it conditional? Basically for just keeps going until this middle thing is not true. So, and if I'm checking you know, as if I'm doing the check for as long as we don't go all the spacings and the vertical ranges and more spacings, as long as that's less than, you know, the canvas height, it's not going out, and then we're able to tell how many lines there are and can fit in the vertical height of the canvas, no matter the size of the font. That's what this is for. So we just run the for loop until that conditional. And I pretty sure there is a better way where you don't even need the for loop, or you can just do the math of the canvas times height divided by, you know, since there's a multiply, it's probably like the inverse or something. We're basically checking until we, I don't know, there's just a little tiny little bit of math you can do here where you could just set lines as equal to and then figure it out without having to do this for loop. I just did the for loop because I don't know, it's easiest. So I kind of, I don't know, is that like a solve two problems with 2 lines of code? Oh, and then so because I changed that and we're eyes lines is no longer like before, lines wouldn't go past g.content.length because that's the limit. g.content.length was 4, lines is 4, even though there's be more than 4 lines that you can see in the vertical range of the window. So but now that changed. Now lines can be greater than g.content.length. So I had to add this check here to make sure um, we're not trying to find something that'll cause like there's like 40 lines in g.content. We don't want to check for the 100 line because that'll just cause an error. Uh, index error or whatever it is. Um, so that's why that check is there. And then this I added because uh uh there was a situation where I'd have to show. So up you can't really see it. Oh wait, you can. So this thing and this thing are the same thing. So if the slack is equal to g.placement.y, then we do this. But then there's another equal sign here. So it means there is a possibility where both these if statements can be true, and therefore both this display of lines. Basically, there's a situation where if you're like in the near the middle of the document, you'd kind of see like lines. Let's say there are 4 lines in the document, right? 4 lines would be displayed, and then the same 4 lines again would be displayed again. As long as you're in a certain spot where these two conditions are true. So just for the second one, I just made sure that duplication doesn't happen by making sure as long if both of them are true, then just run this one and don't run this one, whatever. That important. And for one thing that I haven't done is an array to string, which I needed to do to, and the saving thing is the way the content of the file is within the within the JavaScript. It's basically an array of arrays, which I've talked about earlier. So I need to turn that back into the string to send to the server to write to file. So that's what this is. I just created with a join, and this is here because eventually this will be changed where you can choose whether or not to add a new line at the end or not, but not right now. Right now by default it adds a new line. So here we see those variables needed and the content to save. My fingers are tired. Probably could have gotten something really cool if I had clicked this, but get that bakeberry. It's more important. Yeah. Ooh. $74. Um, I need to add a check here if you're saving. Basically use those the variables within the JavaScript as like you know, so you don't have to specify the type all the time and the file name. Or if you wanted to change the file name or the type, you could just type in the file name and the type, and those would be used instead of the ones that are in the JavaScript. And then this is edit ln, which is the line number version, which would have pretty much the same stuff. I really gotta do snippets inside of snippets in order to not have to do this duplicated code type of stuff. But that's a lot of work in the make.js, and it's not really that necessary. It's only like it will be necessary in the future though. So it's a lot of the same stuff. And the view also has types. Yeah, we could quit. So that was the saving commit with a little bit of extra stuff. One thing I wanted to take a quick look at is art, because I think edit snippets. Hopefully I wasn't dropping any frames and my audio is fine. Test, 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 test. Perfect. Here, that for loop isn't that good. Why didn't I see this? I completely forgot to change this. So I'm gonna do we're actually gonna do uh, I'm not gonna be able to pull. Um I think I could do something cool. Hold on. GitHub.com. Go to here. Go to commits. Play the commit before. And then what file do we need? Need post. So maybe the latest version would work. Does this mean go back? I can't see. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Yeah. Maybe the latest version will work. So post notes. Post raw. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna remove routes. I don't know why node modules is there. Node isn't really installed. There's nothing in it. Gotta remember having remove let's post, and then we could just do let's see the into routes. Get up content.com forward slash dev slash main slash routes slash post .js. And then we should be able to pull now. Get pull. I would need a previous version. Can I find one? Get this. I forgot I could just do this. That is not. Okay. Actually, for some reason I can't do the buffer. Dang it. Maybe I could try. Oh, maybe that was a different branch? Wrong branch? There you go. There you go. And then what I wanted to do was, did I miss a golden cookie? I wanted to look at the latest version. How did I hear? So this, and kind of had an idea basically. There we go. So now that should be better. And because it's a snippet, I should be able to I would test this by probably getting the middle file, doing a resize, adding a line. No errors. Cool. Um, okay, so I did remember that. I guess that's why. So there is a little bit of a use of just looking at your commit. That's cool. Um, so saving is done. Uh, that was one kind of simple because there was not a lot of code, kind of. Two, I've kind of done it before. Uh, on an older version of this website idea thing before I used the Canvas HTML Canvas API. Um, but there's also something I think I wanted to do besides looking at the commit. I can't remember what, but this is the stuff I could do. The edit note, the edit new file, well, exciting. But macro thing is something I want to kind of create the concept of, maybe work and think while I'm uh not really at my main computer or at I can also start. I technically don't need this thoughts thing anymore because I could technically use my website now. Uh, the functionality isn't quite the same. I'm missing find is the only thing important that I use. It's different. Um, this is kind of done but can be improved upon. So right now there's just a check, but technically as there's gonna be a lot more options that kind of can happen, it needs to be there can't be like a ton of checks and a ton of duplicate code, but I think I can delete this. I would have just as I look through files I'll remember that that it can be improved, or as I need more options. I could delete that. So this can be simplified to the file system API thing. Downloading some type of find. But yeah, pretty much have a lot of stuff where I really need Vim if I really want to use my website. Um, from 74 to like 200. Pretty cool. Sorry. I don't use location, file name location, then file name and location with content and post. Kind of. Okay, save and post. That's done. Apply. Better handling of post request. That'll be a while. Bercia also will be a while, but I do need to display a list of files in the command line. That's pretty important and useful. History, important and useful. Just about saving a variable. Yeah, but toggle option. Yeah, but visual case P. I'm pretty sure all the visual stuff I put off. For options. Place. Options name option. I don't think I'm gonna do category in the file. That has to do with the option stuff. Line number spacing. Line number X minus character amount of characters for each line. Temp solution amount of characters is equal to. Yeah. This actually the line numbers actually kind of work well. One, they can probably be improved a little bit, and two, there can be what would be called variants. You get the line numbers on the right, relative numbers, stuff like that. But for now, I think I could just delete this. List of files. Create a file, fix. No new line. File name at the top. I had to do that. Let's test. It's close, but I'd have to fix post. I know, and folders, that's a new thing. Name screen. Haven't got around to it. Cause it's kind of manually made. Or just and then that sells it all. Default character spacing card. Oh, I have to do that. I haven't done it. Basically, I don't know the width of any of the characters. I just do a whole bunch of vertical stuff. Snippets and snippets. I have to do that. Pass only options. Color picker. That's for future. Provider. Focus. On focus curse. Adding two docs. GID. Oh, that's for multiple doc stuff. Graph. No graph. Actual bounding box extent. I'm pretty sure. I understand these. I don't ever use one of this. And I could just search it up again once. Improve issue, not right now. And all of the visual mode stuff. And still haven't figured out how to do pasting stuff. I just think I should be thinking to Okay, well, it all fits on one screen. That's pretty cool. Okay, well, it's been like hour and a half. Damn. starting to get tired. Well, I've been tired, but just an hour or so. I keep doing F. I'm at 9 corn rice. Plus to see that's 10, I should have had a big berry by now. Am I gonna have to go to like 20? Or just, I think. Getting a little bit of bad luck. On. But it's kind of like it's evening out. Because I'm pretty sure I've gotten big berry even before I've gotten corn rice before. Uh, so that just means sometimes you get a big berry, or you don't get a big berry even if you have gotten 10 corn rices. So it's kind of like probably gonna even out. Hopefully it's not something crazy like 20 corn rices before I get a big berry. Um, sorry. I think I should go to sleep. I got stuff to do tomorrow. Which kind of maybe excited for, maybe. And hopefully something brilliant comes to my head and I just figure out how to do the whole like little macro thingy. Which I've explained in the past. Okay, well, there will be a next time, so next time. Maybe next time I'll get a big berry. I should also create a backup when I save, but um it's September 8th, Sunday. 1:39 a.m. Pop, 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 pop.